So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a live demo. I do see a couple questions in the doc, so give me just 10 seconds. I'm going to skim them and see if I can integrate in with it live. All right. All of the questions that I see there are great for the Q&A, so I will continue working with those shortly. But with that, let's start with the GitLab demo. This may be reviewed for some of you, but the enhancements and what's coming in the future is going to be here in 2 or 3 minutes, so just stick with me for a second. So if you visit gitlabdemo.com, feel free to click the team member registration and create an account. Once you sign in, you're going to see a whole bunch of things going on here. What I want to draw your attention to first is understanding where you're at within the portal. So right now you're on the dashboard, and you can see any of the resources that you have access to. We also have a catalog right now that's mostly a scaffolding. There's not a lot of content in it yet, but I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. And then we have the demo data designer. But more than likely, you're not going to be touching these right away. What you'll end up doing is you create an account. How do I get access to the instance? All you're going to do is go down here and click on the GitLab dashboard, and that's going to take you into the GitLab instance. If this is your first time visiting the site, it will ask you to authenticate, and all you need to do is use the username that you provided when you registered, as well as the password. Once you're inside, it's going to give you access just to your own group. So these are projects that I've created in my own group. There are other groups that are out there. However, what we try to do is keep things relatively isolated in the GitLab core instance. So it's kind of your own sandbox rather than a communal area. We are working on opening up additional communal groups within, that are managed and maintainable. But a big part of what we're going to see here is this is your place to do whatever you need to do. So if I go to my groups and I click on my group name, I'll see a little easier view of this. And so what I've done as an example is I've created a subfolder called project templates or subgroup, and then put all the things that I want to clone inside of there. And then anything that I'm just running, I run at the top level. I could create subdirectories however I see fit. We have several of our SAs, some who are on this call, who have quite a few subgroups and different things that they're doing in here. You can do whatever you need to. You can go as deep as you want. You have full owner rights to this group. So now this group is here, we can go and create a new project the same way we would on any GitLab instance. We're not worried too much about that. If you do need some instruction, or you're just curious where do you get started, there are some tutorials here on using project templates and sample projects. What I want to focus on today is using the demo data designer. So everything I'm going to show next is written in the step-by-step tutorial, as well as there's a YouTube video that walks you through it. And so don't worry too much if you miss a step or try to transcribe notes on this call, but it'll just give you a quick sampling and a taste of what this is all about. So what we want to do here is from the GitLab demo portal, so this is the gitlabdemo.com, go and click on Demo Data Designer. And inside of here, these instructions are going to walk you through adding your environment. And what the environment really is, it's simply specifying what URL of the GitLab instance do you want to connect to, and what's the personal access token to talk through that environment through the API. So all you need to do is add that for the GitLab Demo Cloud. You can also do this for gitlab.com, or if you have your own Omnibus instance, you're not required to do anything special. You can simply add the URL in. As long as our demo portal can reach it, you can add demo data into it. The second piece of this is the playbooks. And what a playbook really is basically specifying what are the values that you want to submit in. So when you think about if you export a project, it might have 10 issues in it, 5 milestones, a couple commits, a couple comments, any number of things that basically show the richness of the data that you're trying to do. As part of our alpha release, we focused on creating issue boards. And so we have labels, milestones, and issues, and then adding those to the issue boards as we go. And so if I look at this particular example that I created, this is actually the one that I did as part of the YouTube tutorial. So if you want to see how all this got created, feel free to jump into there. But you can add all the different labels that you want. You can add different milestones. And this is where we talk about the relative dates. I'll leave this for you to read on your own, but it refers to that January 1st relative date that I was talking about. So whatever date that I imported in, it's going to show up as today being in the middle of all this. And you can see the values down here depending on what that looks like. As you create different issues, same thing applies here. You can specify all the values that you'd like. It looks very similar to the GitLab interface, but what's happening is there's a lot gets created in our database that allows you to then run it against different environments. And so you can piecemeal this through. And a use case that I heard from one of our SAs, who shall rename nameless for the purposes of this call, but kudos to them, is actually creating multiple playbooks that are different. They're partial playbooks. And so they do different things in different projects based on what's needed rather than one comprehensive playbook. And that's a great strategy for being able to build this in a modular approach, right? And then ultimately you can create different issue boards where you can add labels, you can add different elements to this. So there's a lot of value you can do with this, and I would highly encourage you to watch the full YouTube video. It's about 30 minutes that walks you through all the steps and sees more of the value. But ultimately what we like to do is expand this left sidebar to include all the resources that the GitLab API has. So this may get 50, 60, 70 different items long. Obviously we'll group them and organize the UI accordingly, but basically allow you to create all the different elements of a project in a modular or fully comprehensive way beyond just what project imports do. We're also going for the group level, which, as you know, does not have a lot of import-export functionality right now. Doing all the epics, doing sub-projects with it, doing all the correlation, real-time burn down charts, instance level configuration, appearance settings, rules, so on and so forth. So the direction that we're going over the next 3 to 6 months is taking this as a scaffolding and a platform to make demo data that much richer. So the infrastructure we built with the demo cloud is simply providing us the infrastructure needed to generate and populate with demo data. That's what we're trying to ultimately do. So that's the connection with all of this. So that's the demo designer. If you look at the catalog libraries and you browse through here, what we're ultimately trying to do is those links that all get posted on YouTube Unfiltered or throughout the handbook, we're trying to centralize that. We haven't taken this to a level of maturity yet. So right now it's more the infrastructure and the code and systems are in place, but the content is not matured yet in terms of what's in here. So it's not usable just yet. But the concept would be is if you went in, you're looking for a specific scenario or feature that a customer would like to see, you can go in and look at that scenario. So I click on issue tracking, I can see, is there any content for this? There's not, but if there was, for example, I could have the playbook that I just created as part of this. I need a playbook that shows some rich data for this feature. This is where the playbook would live. If there's slides, if there's videos, this is where that would live. And what we're going to end up doing long-term is crowdsourcing this. So if you're really curious to get involved, feel free. As an example of what's possible, this is the library that Darwin had helped create as kind of a prototype. And so you can go in and see, I want to see what this scenario looks like. And it embeds in the YouTube Unfiltered video as well as the Google Slides. And I can simply go full screen here and see what this looks like and work my way through that. Or if there's any markdown that goes with it, I can then simply link over to the code that goes with that or other links, right? So ultimately, it's making it easy and creating a library for you to be able to use stuff, as well as contribute additional versions. If you have more content you want to add, it basically is a handbook contribution model as well. So it's taking a step back. The demo portal is focused on the infrastructure. A lot of the demo data with the demo designer is a scaffolding of how we're going to build it. And the catalog libraries allow you to easily get where you need to go while providing all the different components of fully managed infrastructure to anything self-service you might need. I simply need GitLab to pay for my AWS account. So that's what we're trying to do is go to that level.